All right, thank you all for coming out. I know it's bad weather, and we appreciate you coming out no matter which side of this issue you're on. I'll just make a couple of comments before the board decides this matter. I do think it's time for this community to have this conversation and make a choice about our transportation future, so I'm fully supportive of the resolution. Just a couple of things for the record that were mentioned today. One thing was asserted that we have no plan, that we're just voting on this without a plan. Nothing could be further from the truth. There is a very detailed plan that's freely available on Pinellas On Track. You can spend days reading the plans there that shows how the penny will be used, that shows the allocation between bus and rail. It is a base plan that, if approved by this commission to set a date, will go forward to the community for more input on how we perfect that plan going forward. So there is very definitely a plan. The alternatives analysis was an 18-month effort that included public input all along the way. So there is a plan that we're voting on. PSTA did support this unanimously. PSTA is the transit agency for Pinellas County, and they have requested unanimously that the County Commission go ahead and schedule a referendum for November 2014. This is, I think as Ms. Fry said, the first step in this process. It's another step in a very long process. And it is not all about rail. It is about first building a sustainable bus system. That is the first thing that folks will see if this is approved. Ridership is at record levels, but we can't provide the service that this community needs with a declining property tax base for our bus service. We are spending reserves. We are spending capital dollars for operations, and that is not sustainable with fuel and other costs increasing. But this is a big deal for Pinellas County. This is not just about rail or bus, it's about strategic growth. It is about smart growth. If we are going to grow as a county, to do it in a way where the infrastructure can support that growth. It is about jobs and economic development. It's about building a congestion-proof transportation system. And if the RNC showed us anything, it is that we're way behind every other part of this nation in terms of having a transit system that can move folks around efficiently. So I just wanted to correct some of those things for the record. I fully support moving forward with this, and I'll open up the floor for comments from the Commission. Commissioner Lavalla.
Thank you, Commissioner Welch, and you said it quite eloquently. I want to quote someone from the audience. Kathy Harrelson said something that I really enjoyed hearing. How we get from here to there is how we get from the present to the future. How very appropriate. And I am very proud to serve on the PSTA board and on this board at a time when we are looking to the future. We talked about this many years ago, and I think actually took a vote not to move forward. In hindsight, that wasn't such a bad idea because there was no conversation anywhere else in the region, let alone the state, about mass transit and improved transit systems. It's a different world today, and I think the time is right. And I think it's very appropriate that we take this action. The conversation is just beginning. It was really a joy to hear all of you speak today and to hear your thoughts, all very thoughtful comments. And it tells me that it is time for this conversation and we need to move forward with it. There will be many votes ahead of us before this actually hits the ballot in 2014, and it's timely that we begin the conversation now. I will support this resolution and look forward to the conversation moving forward.
Thank you, Commissioner Lavalla. Other commissioners? Commissioner Maroney?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Excuse my voice, it's going around and I can't talk real loud. But this, I really enjoyed too hearing everyone speak today. Everyone was really thoughtful on both sides and what they had to say. But this is not about the merits or faults of the alternative analysis program or anything else. This is about just giving people an opportunity to have a say in their government in November of 14. We're just providing that. And Mr. Turgeon was very eloquent on everything that he said. And he wants that chance to engage in conversation over these next 18 months, just like I do. I really would like to have this debated plenty of times over, not only in this meeting, but in the Pinellas Planning Council and on the MPO and all these other neighborhood groups that Brad Miller has promised me that he would be getting out into the community. Didn't you, Brad? Yes. I mean, that has always been a very strong feeling that I have, is about getting this word out to every group, every neighborhood that you possibly can. And, you know, somebody said about slowing this down, and we've been talking about this from the 1980s. Someone brought up since, well, somebody said about 1983. And you start thinking about that, that's 30 years ago right there. So why slow it down? And there you go, there's an old article that Karen showed me. But why slow it down anymore? Let's just give people an opportunity to vote on whatever the plan is over the next 18 months. It might be great, it might stink, but at least you'll get an opportunity to make that decision.
Thank you, Commissioner Maroney. Commissioner Long?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Welch. I've already spoken many times to this issue, but I just feel compelled to say that there really is nothing in the world that is standing still today. Everything is changing so fast and so quickly. And I don't think in a county as progressive as Pinellas that we can afford to stand still and do nothing. I believe that our young people need this, our economy needs this, our elderly population needs this, and it's good for our county in terms of our future and what we want Pinellas County to look like 20 years from now. So I am going to support this initiative to the very best of my ability, and I welcome very much the opportunity to have intelligent, factual conversations about how we move forward, how the plan takes shape. But regardless of where we go and what we do, we have to start somewhere. The fact that we've been talking about, I came here in 1972, elected leaders were talking about transportation issues then. Well, now we're totally built out. So this conversation and this initiative must move forward for the good of our future. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Long. I have 2 commissioners left. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay. Commissioner Seal.
Again, I also want to thank everyone on both sides of the issue. I think your comments were relevant, they were thoughtful, and they were focused on what your beliefs are and where we should go from this point forward. I still have concern about the date, but you've already heard me discuss my rationale behind that. I would prefer that we would wait until November of 2015 for many different reasons, but on the other hand, if anybody knows me, they know that transportation has been what I have majored in since I've been in office. We have all the major roadways now under construction. US 19 will be done, yes, one of these days, by probably 2015. We will have all of Almerton Road finally widened. We're working on tying US 19 via 118th down to St. Petersburg so that you have a continuous north-south highway. So we've made great strides. We implemented traffic signals systems that are different as far as how they are run by computer to try to widen our roads using traffic signal timing versus building more roads. I think I've used about every ace in my pocket in order to try to improve the roadways and, you know, working on trails and sidewalks as well. But ultimately, the time has come that we do need to look towards the future, know that as 96% built out, that roads are not going to be able to logically be built any longer. It's going to take a different kind of transportation system. And yes, I carried around this weathered article. My father was chairman of PSTA over 20 years ago, actually 30 years ago. This is 1983. And in this article, they talk about the unification of this St. Petersburg bus system and the Clearwater bus system, which was accomplished by referendum in 1988. Then further goes on to talk about, this is again 30 years ago, how the MPO, the Metropolitan Planning Organization, is looking at the development of some type of rail, a main link between Clearwater and St. Petersburg. It's gaining momentum. We're in the process of buying up buying up the Suncoast Seaboard line in order to construct that. And it never happened. I also go back to saying there was a referendum to do a north-south highway that went to referendum sometime in the mid-1980s, and it failed. The cost of that roadway, which would have linked North and South County, today only it would build one overpass on US 19. So if we don't start looking now towards where the future is going to go and where we need to be, then we're never going to be the quality county that I was born and raised in. The other thing I just want to point out is in the last 30 years here in Pinellas County, our population has doubled. Since this article was in there and they were looking towards the future of rail, employment has tripled, and our delay in commute time has more than doubled. And if we don't go ahead with this rail, the congestion time is going to probably triple. We're also, as far as travel time index used to measure delays via the Forbes magazine and the transportation group out of Texas that measures all of this, we are number 60 out of 60 in all of the metropolitan significantly MSA areas. We're dead last. So the time has come. Again, I don't agree with the timing, but I agree with coming up with a very specific list. We have a lot of good lists to work from. We know that if the sales tax goes forward, 1/3 is paid by their tourists. So the tourists that use our roads and other transportation alternatives will help to pay for the transit plan. And finally, and last but not least, I'm not sure I would have been in this place today except for because I really felt that this should be a regional approach, and that it really makes sense to link downtown St. Petersburg with downtown Tampa. That gets your highest ridership of any of the lines. Then on to USF. And that's what we found when we did our studies. I have heard that there may be some interest in Hillsborough County to put a referendum on the ballot in 2014, and that leaves me highly encouraged that we will do this as a regional discussion, as a regional approach to solving the transportation problems in both Pinellas and Hillsborough counties. So you got me there.
All right.
Oh, yay.
Thank you, Commissioner Seal. Thank you, Commissioner Seal, and thank you for your leadership on transportation. It's in your blood, and appreciate it. Commissioner Roach.
Mr. Chairman, how are you today?
Great. How are you doing?
I am blessed to be alive as well. And my hope, kind of as we started our delegation, my delegation discussion this morning, is that this wouldn't go into the partisan ideological realm, and I hope we don't. But I would like to be the first one to say that I think our county is pretty damn special now. Everybody running down our county saying we're just not a quality community. We're not. I think we're pretty quality right now, and we have been for an awful long time in this Pinellas County, in our county. So at least one of us is going. We're pretty sharp now, and we don't need a rail to be any sharper, and we're not bad because we don't have a rail. So way to go, Pinellas. I've been here since 1971 myself, and I have too. Tracked and watched it all as well, and have schooled here, grown up here, worked here, raised my family here too. And I agree. In the 80s and the 70s, our forefathers were talking about this, and I've said it many times over, and I'll say it again. We're still paying for the sins of our fathers. They were talking about rail, but they failed to develop the county to where rail makes sense. And had they done that, we could be very comfortably in a position right now of doing that, of doing that going forward. We cannot, and although we can write it here, guys, this is my opinion, of course, and I take issue with the way it's written to begin with. This isn't a regional issue. This is Pinellas County. This isn't a regional tax. It's not a regional system. It's a system in Pinellas County. And this is titled as a regional surtax system. That's a problem in and of itself, and I think we need to be clear about that, because you can't compare a county to metro regions and then sit there and say we fall short. We're not a region. We're Pinellas County. This tax is in Pinellas County, and it's for Pinellas County, not the region. There is no region yet, and we weren't elected to represent a region. I was elected to represent Pinellas County. If we want to do away with our counties and have the legislature create a regional area and start a whole new system of elections for a regional governing body, then I'm fine. I think we should support that if that's what you want. But we're not. Right now, I'm elected to represent Pinellas County. PSTA, just to clarify a couple, did not vote unanimously to support alternative analysis. We haven't had a vote on that. We voted unanimously to ask Pinellas County to consider putting this on a ballot.
I believe that's what I said.
We're talking about voted for...
To ask the commission to put this on.
Okay, well, then I stand corrected, but I didn't hear that. We haven't had a vote, nor has this body here had a full vote on whether this alternative analysis plan, or whatever the plan may be, is what we agreed to. We've had and I've said it before, I'm a cart back, behind the horse kind of person. I'm not we should just here to vote and move forward and then we'll figure out how to spend it later. We can't afford that any longer. And that is the realities that's the fiscal realities. We cannot afford to speculate our budget systems any longer. We have to know straight up and straightforward, in my opinion, what we have coming in, what we're going to be spending on it, what are the pro formas, what is the amortized capital costs, what are the legacy costs, all the way going through before we move forward on this. And to be clear, this vote today doesn't start or stop the conversation. And I heard that a lot. But we've got to vote this today so we can talk about it. We intended. We can still talk about it. We've spent $4 million plus talking about it, and that's what disturbs me the most. Is that we're still not here with those details and data, and the fiscal realities of today, in my opinion, dictate that we need those details and data before we take action, even to put it on an agenda. I want to do it with confidence, and I don't have the confidence level that this is exactly what we do myself. I don't think that changes what's going to happen today, but I'm just giving you my opinion. To move forward for that reason. It's not an anti-rail vote. It's not a anti-tax. It just makes no pragmatic sense. We're not just elected here to move forward a vote. We're elected to make certain that the vote we move forward is the right thing for this county, and the data hasn't been presented that gives me that level of confidence. We are also not here to elect or just do something. We're here to do the right thing, and that requires comprehensive data planning, and it hasn't been here. The plans have been presented, a lot of questions have been asked, with assurances that they would be back before us, before this point, with those answers, and they've yet to come back with those answers. So I'm wide open, and this isn't even due until August of next year. Next year. Plenty of time to have a comprehensive, detailed analysis and plan placed before this body so we can vote on this with full bird confidence. And in my opinion, Mr. Chairman, it should be coming from PSCA, not a third-party body on that. So I'm not going to, I think I've got my facts down. You've heard all my other stuff before, my details out. I'm not going to support it for that, but it's not to block a vote. I don't even want to get into the hypocrisy of that debate up here, quite frankly. That the people have a right to be heard. Yes, they do. Yeah, they do. So I don't even want to get into that debate for obvious reasons. But thank you. We can move forward on that. I appreciate your patience on it.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. Commissioner Ballot?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And with your permission, could we ask Brad Miller to come forward and talk a little bit about the alternative analysis, what it is, who paid for it, what it consists of, what it means, and how this process is moving forward to clear up some of the misrepresentations that have been said.
Mr. Miller?
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I'll be as fast as I can, although let's try to get to your question specifically. I want to thank you all, and I believe I've gotten to talk to each of you, and I've tried to give each of you a copy of this document, and if not, or if you've given it to somebody else, I have more. But the alternative analysis, as Commissioner Latvalis and Commissioner Welch and others have stated, is a completed plan. It was a very thorough plan. This is the summary. The full plan does, as others have said, amass to more than 2,000 pages. It's all on the website, and we've printed out one full copy at PSTA's offices that you can come and read. This was done over a period of 18 months and is now done. One of the reasons, or the reason that PSTA or that the county has not voted on a plan is because this is one component of the total plan. And we're still working on these other plans. We're well on our way to getting those done. Those are all going to be done this summer. But the idea about this vote today is to have the kind of public conversation and to get people to focus on this, and that is working, as you can tell, over the last 3 hours. And there was 150 people at the PSTA board meeting. That has not happened before for 30 years. I don't know, maybe, I don't know what the record number of people coming to a PSTA meeting was, but this idea, the vote today, to get people to pay attention to this, because it's people are not going to be able to read 2,000 pages or even 110 pages of this, but to get this conversation, we're doing the bus study, we're working with the MPO and T-BARTA and doing a land use piece. We've all these different activities are underway. After today, as many of you have said, there's going to be many more opportunities to chime in. I want to commit to you, and in addition to going out to the public and as many meetings as I can get to and my staff can get to, but anytime I want to be as available to you and the county. I've gotten a great opportunity to talk to your attorney and your administrator about this and working together. It is the county, this is the county's role to put this, to decide whether to put this on the ballot or not, and we don't want to lose that. There's a whole bunch of acronyms, transportation groups that are represented, and many of you sit on them, but the county has a very important role, so I want to be accessible to you too. If you want to have another workshop or discussions about this, please call me, and we will do that too. But this alternative analysis is our baseline that we're starting with for our financial plans, and I'm planning on presenting those to the PSTA tomorrow, then to the ACPT in a week, then hopefully even to the MPO. To start there, but then all these different groups are going to speak. Then in about 6 months' time or next fall, we'll come back to the to the county with a full plan that has all those other plans included with it, and present it to you again.
Well, Brad, thank you for that concise summary of where we are. And I think, as we mentioned last time, Commissioner Maroney, to your point, if we're not at the place where we feel we need to be next year, then we can take it off of that ballot. But we ought to be working as hard as we can to make sure we are ready by next year. So, Brad, thank you. We have fully discussed this. Commissioner Seal?
And to take a step further,
Yes.
Brad, it's not going to be you by yourself, because it's incumbent upon each one of us to meet with everybody in the community who wants to meet to discuss this and to look at the alternatives so that we have a very well-fleshed plan.
Absolutely. Commissioner Rush?
Well, and I want to go back to clarify this, what I keep hearing. Are you under the impression if a no vote happened today, this would die? Is that what you're under the impression? We would have no more further discussion in the community? Because that's what I heard again, is like, this vote today means we can talk about this. This is not about talking. This vote isn't about talking about this. This vote is about, will we put a referendum on the ballot, and we can make that decision. By the same token, we can always take it back. We can also not do it until we have more detail. We have until August of next year to put this request in to the supervisor of election for the ballot. So I'm just hearing different things. I keep hearing this lean towards, well, if we don't vote today, we're not discussing this anymore. All those plans, am I correct? Is that what I heard?
Well, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Your point is made. I don't want to get Brad coming up here doing it back and forth. Your point is well made. We could construct this process in a number of different ways. I think the consensus of this board is that this is the right way. And given that we've got a 6 o'clock public hearing and still some items we need to get through, we've had 3 hours of discussion. I think we're ready to move ahead. So with all due respect, let me ask, is there a motion to approve this resolution?
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Other comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes 5-1.